are watching the Blueprint Radio Show with DJ Miss Hennessy.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exclusive interview right here on Miss Hennessy TV. Thank you all for tuning in to my show. I am Maxine, aka Miss Hennessy, and you know I love to speak to people of purpose, people that are doing things, game changers, change agents, all of those amazing buzzwords that we have going around at the moment. However, when you meet the people that I get to work with on the daily, such as this incredible woman that has found some time in her very busy schedule to chat with me tonight. You stop everything and you have a chat and you listen and you learn. I'm so honored to have the incredible Busty Beatz, aka the Queen Bee, the Queen Mother of the incredible Hot Brown Honey movement, talking to me tonight. Welcome to the show, Busty Beatz.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
Such an honor to have you speaking with me, and just so lovely to kind of have this one-on-one conversation. You and I crazily only have just recently met, but we've both been doing what we've been doing for a number of years within the Australian entertainment community. But it's such an incredible honor to finally get to chat with you. You and I got to meet at the recent 4E hip hop conference, and we were on the same panel. I got to facilitate that panel with you. Man, it's just what you and your crew of incredible queens are doing to change the narrative of working mothers in this world is just amazing. So I'd love to give my viewers a little bit of an insight into who Hot Brown Honey are. So if you could please take it away and describe who you are and what your movement represents.
Yeah. Well, Hot Brown Honey, we like to call ourselves a theatrical explosion, because it really is that. Like, we have been sort of working, all of the artists are independent artists in their own right, and we came together because it was definitely an issue of visibility and access. So we've kind of been through a number of different iterations. It started as a club night back in 2012.
Wow.
So we just were in Melbourne, and we're going to pull some friends together, get a venue, and put on a gig. And so it really started in as kind of, and I was able to then DJ, because I was like, there's no way, no one's playing music I want to listen to. So then I got to DJ for those nights as well.
Wow.
So from there we kind of started really looking at the fact, me and Lisa Farlafi, who is the director of Hot Brown Honey, aka the Game Changer. We've been working together for many years. So we actually met when we started working out of a festival called the Styling Up Festival, which happened out at Inala in Brisbane up here. And Styling Up was a R&B and hip hop festival created by the elders and young people in the area of Inala, because they really recognised that music and hip hop culture was a tipping point for voices being heard.
Absolutely.
So that festival ran for 10 years, over 10 years, I think. So, and it was amazing. The headline act, they would get the most amazing headline acts from, all over the world, but like real focus on First Nations artists. And of course did the workshop program, which meant all of those young people were on stage as well, as
Yeah.
same time as Savage, same time as just Melboy, like, you know. So yeah, that was a pretty amazing experience. And Hot Brown Honey really kind of, me and Lisa were working out in a few communities around Queensland, and
Mm.
every time we'd go, we got to make something, we got to do something, like, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then it took us quite a long time. Lisa's also like she's the co-artistic director of Polytoxic as well, which is
Oh,
a
wow.
dance theatre company, physical and dance theatre company that's come out of Brisbane.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, so, and I'd worked on a number of Polytoxic shows as well. So we were
Wow.
just like, okay, let's do this. We know so many amazing, beautiful black and brown femmes who are always on the fringes, they're always on the margins,
Yeah.
and they're making the most astounding art. Um, so we were like, how can we show that we need to be actually centre stage in
Yeah.
some of the biggest venues in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So we
which I
went.
think, and sorry to interject there, but just to give my viewers a little bit of an insight into just how you do take over center stage. You know, we for the fans here in Sydney, with the recent Four Elements Hip Hop Festival, got to, for a lot of us, it was the first time we'd actually ever seen Hot Brown Honey do what you do. Um,
Yeah.
it is an experience, and I was mesmerized from the minute you started to the end, and it was only a small, maybe what, 7 or 8, 10 minutes at the most. I think that you were probably on stage, but each and every one of you. And how many ladies are there in your group?
Yeah, we've got 7 at the moment. Like, it fluctuates between 7 and, like, and then we've got our extended honey family, of course, and that's like our whole dream is like, look out, there's going to be 200 women of color coming to
Yeah,
that stage. You know, we're so like ready for that. But you know, at the moment it's myself, Lisa. We've got Maya Muto, who is the Gravity Defier, because she is a aerial artist
yeah.
and dancer. We've got Lilikoi Chaos, who is also like does circus hoops
Mm-hmm.
and sideshow. She does amazing sideshow. She's like Hawaiian Australian.
Wow.
Um, and we have Hope Won the Beatboxer.
Oh,
Yeah.
say less. She's incredible. She's just
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so we've been working with Hope One for the whole time of Hot Brown Honey. Hope One's been
Yeah.
on board. And I think we first met. I think we did workshops with her when she was a young person, and we're like, oh, Hope One, yes.
She's next level, man. Like, it
Yeah.
just, all of the women that are a part of this movement, there's something so unique, so special, so
Mm-hmm.
mesmerizing with you all individually, that when you come together as a collective, you pack such an incredible punch that even if somebody wasn't sure if they wanted to watch, you make people pay attention. And I think that's
Yeah.
necessary, especially in today's creative community. I think with
Mm.
everything that we've all been through as entertainers, DJs, musicians, performers, and the like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously with COVID and with lockdown and what it's done on a global scale, um,
Yeah.
there's no time for pussyfooting around. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
this is what we've got to say. This is what we want to do, and you're going to
Yeah.
watch us whether you like it or not. But it's
Mm.
it's not it's so good. Seriously, I can't even stress how incredible it was just to watch all of you do what you do. Um, yeah, it was just
Yeah.
really tough. It was I
Oh my
was
God,
gobsmacked.
thank you.
I
Yeah,
was,
that's so awesome. Because we've been like, oh, I'll just say we've got a Linda McGrady as well, who is
yes.
just an amazing soul singer and dancer and pretty much triple threat all the way around. And of course, the unstoppable Genoa Gila, who has been working across, she's a multi arts navigator, that one. Like, she is across everything. Like she's just in a new film
Wow.
with that's just come out on Stan. Like she has her own solo work happening. I mean, everyone does. Yeah, but just like really, yeah, they're amazing. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So are
Yeah.
you. So are you. Because you're right. You're right there. You to me are the glue, in terms of not only just visually, all of you have such an incredible aesthetic, and you've all got your individual styles that you've been able to somehow merge even in a uniform, right? You had some crazy sort of matching jumpsuits and these wonderful bright positive powerful colors, but you all wear it with your essence. It's like it's just something I've never actually experienced, and it's so wonderful to know that it's homegrown,
Yeah.
and that you're taking on the global stage now. You haven't only just obviously performed here and at festivals, but
Mm.
you've traveled to the UK, you've taken over West End, you've got an incredible Canadian tour coming up in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
How is the world taken to Hot Brown Honey?
Yeah. Well, it's been really interesting. So, of course, we've got our spots that we do for festivals, like we did at 4E, and then we've got our individual spots, which we've also created, which kind of fit into all sorts of worlds. And then the show. So the show, we've got a 3-meter beehive that speaks. The mother, of course, and everything kind of revolves around the narrative that the mother's had enough. Like, she didn't give us coconuts for brains. What is happening? She's sending in the help. And out come the honeys.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and yeah. So kind of through that story, we it's not necessarily a play as such. It's like we use whatever means necessary to tell our stories, because it's about our stories and our voices and our bodies, and that's our narrative.
Yeah.
The world has been, it was very interesting. So pre-COVID, we we first kind of had an amazing kind of break to go to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which it's a hard festival. It's a hard slog.
Okay. How so? Just in terms of like performing or the crowd?
Yeah, performing. We weren't particularly sure like how things would translate. And then we also had we were very interested in what the kind of the lens was, especially coming out of Stolen Land Australia, what that was for having black and brown people in a story, right? Yeah, so that was all very interesting. But what we found is that universally there's some stuff that we talk about and discuss and make fun of that is just like, yeah, it's quite known across across boundaries, across countries, across oceans, and to also not be I suppose it's that we can make jokes like, people like, there are people like us in Australia, like,
Which a lot of people are quite like, oh, really? You're from Australia? You're like, it is lots of people of our melanin tone. Like, yeah,
exactly. Like, it was pretty funny, but because, and it was great because our first kind of season there was in the Roxy, which is an old church that they converted into a venue, and we were like, this is kind of perfect.
Oh, everything about that is perfect in terms of preaching from a sort of it's like preaching within the sort of house, but it's also welcoming and all of that sort of stuff. All the aesthetic works. I could see how that would have been amazing.
Yeah. So we really kind of took off. We were like, oh, this is how this works, So we were able to then, like, we actually won an award, which was really quite a beautiful award. It's a UK Total Theatre Award, and it was for innovation, experimentation, and playing with form. And it was like that award actually was, I was like, we've never received anything like that before, but that's kind of, we were like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's you, exactly
Yeah.
right. That's what you
Yeah.
guys are truly about,
Mm.
that all-encompassing message and form, and being able to merge a bit of humor with that in your face honesty about what it's really like to, you know, come from here. And even if you're not
Yeah.
born here, and so many of us are immigrants
Hmm.
to this country that, we're our
Yeah.
origin stories can sometimes marry up with the origin story of Black Australia, because we make that
Mm.
part up as well. So that's what I love about
Mm.
Hot Brown Honey, and that's what has totally just grabbed me by the shoulders and gone, this is something that I don't think we knew we needed, but
Mm.
we're grateful we have now. So
Yeah.
hats off, seriously, hats off to all of you.
Mm.
I just think what you're doing is just, it's just so revolutionary. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it's that thing too. I mean, when I look around, I go, well, these are our sisters. I'm like, these are our girls. We've been working with them, on and off. We've been known them all, and seeing the trajectory,
Yeah.
career of what they're up to. And also the fact that, like, we're definitely trying to have an artistic and creative conversation with being like from refugee or migrant backgrounds, being First Nations from elsewhere,
Yeah.
and also that conversation of how that intersects here on stolen land
Yeah.
with the plethora of amazing talent,
Oh,
beauty and understanding that is right here as well. That's why 4E, didn't stop smiling for a week after 4E, because I'm just like, this is my people. This is how it's rolling.
honestly,
Yeah.
and you know what? I've been involved with 4E, with Viv for, gosh, I think that was I think it was the seventh festival that I've sort of hosted, facilitated, worked with,
Mm.
obviously, as the conference has been growing, and watching it just morph into this necessary realness that our community needs. And the festival side of it this year was just
Mm.
unlike anything that I'd experienced, with the different types of talent, and the messaging was all so on point. It wasn't missed.
Yeah.
There's that call to arms, right? And it's about not kind of taking any shit anymore. This
Mm-hmm.
this younger generation, obviously, with we've been able to kick open that door with, yeah, we're not gonna shush things, we're not gonna sweep stuff under the carpet. We've been
Mm.
itching that scratch, and so now the wound is open, and it's time to kind of salve it, and to heal, and to heal properly, and heal with
Yeah.
respect and with dignity and with understanding, because
Mm-hmm.
our kids and the generation that we're performing in front of, or that we're doing this for, they are not going to take any prisoners, right? They're not our ancestors, honey, right? So we
Yeah.
look at what's happening here, we look at what's happening in the US with every day there's hurt and pain and anger that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And even the
Mm-hmm.
UK, people are starting to really reckon. And I think performances like yours, and obviously with our incredible hip hop talent here,
Yeah.
it's just, there's no way but forward. The progression is forward. Even if the conversation is uncomfortable, it has
Mm.
to be, in
Yeah.
order for truth to kind of come through. And that's what I loved about your show, because you touched on a lot of things, especially as Black women, what we deal with every day, and it often is, it's sort of made a joke upon. You kind of laughed at it, but you also were like, yeah, we're not going to take it. The you know
Yeah.
don't touch my hair. I bought
Yeah.
a pin. Hello,
Yeah.
you don't touch
Yeah.
my kids' hair.
Don't.
It's just,
Yeah.
that is just brilliant. And I saw people after you guys were done was kind of rapping and singing along to it and going,
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, it's necessary stuff,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
I just think there's such a place for it in the world, and it's great that it's coming from here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even with that track too, we actually went how many different ways can we say this? So it's actually stuck in
Yeah.
people's heads
Yeah.
and that moment when they go to reach out and touch, well, it's all about consent. Like,
It
you
is.
should not touch anyone without their consent. The end.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just a female thing too. I mean, I'm a mum
Mhm.
of boys, and my boys will come home and tell me, I've got my little one, as young as 5, and be, Mummy, they touched my hair at school. And I'll be, honey, you tell them don't touch my hair. And
Mhm.
if they say why, you don't need to give them a response. Just go, it's my hair, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Because at 5, that's quite a lot to explain the reasons why. My
Yeah.
eldest, he's all over it. He's all over it, and he doesn't really stand for it. But it's just about that boundary and about being okay and being comfortable. But
Yeah.
having situations and experiences such as what the hot brown honeys offer, it makes that sort of cool, that sort of lunchtime, talk in the office, that, what's it called, like cooler talk, like when you're sort of standing around the cooler. I saw this show last night. We're talking about not touching black people's hair. What's that about? Let's talk about it, because it's not okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
um so yeah, I absolutely, I think it was brilliant. And another standout for me that I wanted to have a chat about was, obviously you and I are both rocking some incredible earrings, which I love, because
Yeah. Yeah.
with my freshly cut hair, it really shows off lovely. But there's a reason behind these. This is Hot Brown
Mhm.
Honey merch, and you ladies have
Yeah.
created your merchandise that you sell at shows, but it's not just
Yeah.
for fun. There's an actual reason behind it. So can we
Mm.
have a chat about the merch connected to childcare and what that means?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we like to say the revolution cannot happen without childcare. So basically, we were touring and, in very kind of, the negotiations around that get quite full on. Like, we never ask for more than what we need. And we really started to recognize that, like, childcare is a basic need. Us being able to tour with our families is just what has to happen for our own well-being, mental health and well-being. And so we started going, okay, how are we going to do the hustler? And we're just like,
Yeah.
right, how are we going to do this? We need to get the money to, like, get the flights and make sure there's a nanny on board, make, all of the things. And so there was a bit of trial and error, but we started selling merch, and that was definitely from some of the aunties in the crew were like, this is what we're going to do. Right?
Love that.
Yeah. And so the merch is basically our cultural awareness merch that we sell to raise money to make sure that the mothers in the crew and their kids are looked after while we're on tour, so we can tour, so we can actually rehearse, like, as well. And
Seriously. Yeah.
yeah, because it's one thing, it's just a factor that, across the music industry, across the arts, across all of these platforms where, it's meant to be about creative expression, where it's like, and, we are also parents.
That's
Like,
it.
that's a part
Yeah.
of it as well. Yeah, so we kind of went, we'll make this and we do make it, like, and and raise that money to be able to have that basic need in place for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's just again it's just so revolutionary, because at the end of the day, you know, with most of us, we are mums,
Mm.
first and foremost, and we do what we do not just for our own creative outputs, but for our families.
Mm.
You're sort of creating legacies, and that narrative is not just like we were talking about before, not just for us, but for the future. So
Yep.
people do forget that there's the DJs and performers and all of this sort of thing. At the end of the day, you know our kids aren't always just backstage hanging out waiting for us we need to have adequate, absolutely. And if you, especially with single moms too, you
Yeah.
take your hat off, because there's no assumption that, oh, your mum or your sister's looking after it. Sometimes you're literally just on your own.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just again such a powerful, purposeful statement that you've made. And the earrings are in the shape of incredible afro combs.
Yeah.
And they come in, like all different sort of colors and sizes. And can people purchase them online, or is it just at your shows?
It was during COVID where we kind of moved to online for a bit, but now I think we're going back to, because we can do shows, and that has been such our thing for forever. So we're just we're gonna go back to shows because we're we're not going to be home to do the posting. Posting out.
Might have to hire someone just to do it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Now, can we talk about the shows? I'm so intrigued into the whole creative process with putting a show like this together. I mean, this isn't, I would liken it to, sort of the lofty heights of, seeing like a Lion King or a Moulin Rouge, or because it's got that sort of bombastic theatre vibe, but it's then got that real sort of hardcore messaging about, this is what this is about. We're a crew of kick-ass women. We've got our messaging. We're also representing, Black Australia, Black and brown women from all over the world. We come from Australia, but we're all different cultures as well. Like, there's a lot to unpack within that. How long are your shows? Would they go for about an hour, 2 hours? What's the average show run?
Yeah, I think about 80 minutes. Goes for 80 minutes.
And it's fast.
Yeah.
But it's not, you're not just sitting there going, oh, we're waiting for intermission. The shit flies. And if you're not holding on, forget it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to hold it to understand. How do you compile that? You know what I'm saying? How does one sit down and compile it, then rehearse it, and then kind of, like, how does this work? Just help me understand.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, well, it's very much, thinking about it, I'm like, wow, it's actually, it's a lot. But, we've been doing it for a few years. And of course, the older members of the crew are straight from the MTV generation, right? So we work in film clips. Everything we do is pretty much a film clip, but live.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah. So, from the beginnings, it was Lisa and we really started, I suppose it was like strategizing, because we went, right, first of all, we've got to get through all these gatekeepers and show how talented everyone is, and then how are we going to put this show then together, like make it look like it's got a shiny bow on it, and then actually when you come and see it, you have to actually go there to some places.
Yes, you do.
So we actually, we tried to we wrote it, and we were like, with all of the people we wanted in mind, and we keep on doing that. We're like, oh yeah, we know all of these artists that we want to be in the show, and we keep on putting it on paper and going, it's going to happen. Yeah. And then everything else was, every kind of part of the show too is about our experiences. So we're going pretty Lisa being Samoan Australian, like it's about her experience. She does an amazing reverse strip, which is with coconut leaves. So it's kind of like her experience of what taboo is as well for her, but also that sometimes it's like she reverse strips from the island girl to like a full couture like fashion model. So, it's kind of looking at how we flip the script every time.
Yeah.
When it's like pieces like, the Alinta's piece, Badass Mother, is like basically talking to being on stage while your baby's crying and having to like actually go, wait a minute, I'm in these two places at once right now. How am I going to handle this? Like, so, and of course,
that, sorry to interrupt you there, but that reminded me of, I don't know if you were ever a fan of Arrested Development. Remember Arrested
Yes.
Development?
Oh,
There was
yes,
a
yes.
song of theirs on their first album where I forget the name, it escapes me, it'll probably come to me later, but their speech was sort of rapping about this young mother who she was a single mom and she had to get up on stage every night to sing, or I think she was a dancer or should have been a pole dancer at the time, I'm not sure, but he painted this picture of her having to leave her child who she was breastfeeding at the time in the backstage with the other ladies and had to go and sort of perform, but she could hear and she could feel, because as a mother we feel, especially when you're breastfeeding, you feel that pull, and inside she's crying but she's also having to make that money, and she's feeling all these feelings, and her baby's crying and he's going, it's okay, the village has you, in terms of it takes a village to raise a baby. And that particular piece that you've just spoken about, that gave me those kind of vibes, right? Because women, we've got to wear so many hats, and the motherhood hat never comes off, but you got to tip it to the back a bit in order to be the creative and the performer. And that's what I get out of some of your pieces. Sorry,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing too. It's just like, I mean, we grew up in hip hop culture, like, especially me, Lisa. We just it was something that was just a part of our daily existence. So all the work we make always has that lens or that framework. And even when it comes to actually critiquing it, which we do in the show as well, where we become the hot brown homies and we have to critique our favourite music. Like, we're doing a piece to like Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe, which we used to dance to. All of us used to dance to. But then we were listening to it lately and we were like, oh, hang on a sec. What are they saying? Like, and so we're like, we have to critique this because it's our culture and we love it. That's why we critique it.
Absolutely. It's just it's so refreshing to be able to know that there's art, there's movement art like this, because it's just it's not on canvas. You guys are the canvas, and just your messaging is so important. I mean, even on the packaging, which I've got here, like I love it. I keep it because at the back, and I have a giggle when I sometimes read it, because I go, how they even thought of this? These women are phenomenal. Decolonize and moisturize. Come on, listen, this next level, right? We've got make way for the matriarchy, right? It's first and foremost. First Nations fairness, okay? Still here, hashtag still here, hashtag fighting the power, never tasted so sweet. Come on. Hashtag make noise. This is how, I mean, did each of you come up with one of these to represent each character, or is it just unilaterally how you feel as a movie?
We all we do laugh a lot, like thinking about hashtags and stuff. But decolonize and moisturize we came up with because it's part of the show. It's about how we, how every day is kind of that flux or that fight between like actually going, oh, am I just steeping myself into hardcore capitalism and like, back into a colonized mind state, and every day is about pulling yourself out of it, but also moisturizing. That's about self-care, right?
Hydration. You might want to add a bit of hydration.
Hydration. You got to look after yourself in the process because it's a lifelong process, for sure. We laughed a lot about that. And that's the other thing too, like we are from such amazing sort of different backgrounds, different heritages. But we love to kind of really confront our similarities and then also embrace our differences. And we found across our cultural groups as well, there's a few things that are universal, which include eating and laughing. Especially when, shit's not so good.
So true. I do find that as a peer. I think you and I might share a common background. I heard through the grapevine you're South African,
Yeah.
or part South African.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I think this was at 4E. And I was like, I'm South African too. And then, that age-old question where someone's like, are you guys related? Someone asked me that, and I went,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think you should be in this room if you're going to ask a real sort of, like baseline question like that. Just because we might share the similar sort of, like, country where we come from. No, I don't know. I only never met her. Met her today. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think we're related.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so what's your, if you don't mind me asking, what is your background outside of South African? What else are you?
Yeah, so Ngosa, my
Oh,
great grandmother was Ngosa,
yeah.
and then on my mum's side, Chinese Malaysian,
Oh,
so Port
wow.
Malay, yeah. And then I'm sure there's some Caucasian in there. I'm not
Yeah.
sure where, but
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, but that's
South Africans
my
are
mix.
always
Yeah,
mixed
all the
with
mix. Yeah.
all of that. It goes
Yeah.
South African, but what really? Well, I've got, for me, it's just it's a melting pot. It's a plethora, but I love it because I love peeling back those layers, and you try to own every part of who you are, and then there's some parts that you're surprised when you go, oh, some of the ancestors needed to have a chat, but it is what it is, and
Yeah.
I think moving forward now that we're sort of adults, and we've got our kids, and everybody is just, we're all, there's no, and this is something that I've had to really make peace with, especially living here and growing up here, and in some of the parts of Australia where I think they forget that there's other cultures, even though we're all living amongst each other here. um, it's really nice that as of late, more black and brown people are coming forward and owning the space here, because
Yeah.
without those cultures, Australia wouldn't be as multifaceted and as fascinating as it is to other countries, because we are one of the largest islands in the world that has so many cultures all living within each other, and I
Yeah.
think that needs to be celebrated a lot more than it is.
Yeah.
I also think a lot of people just live within their own little worlds too much here as well.
Yeah.
Which I know that's our journey, and I think every country has its story, but yeah, I just, the last couple of years I've really seen that sort of burst of color come forward, and not only in the arts but in a lot of other areas too, which I think is so
Yes.
important.
Yeah, definitely. And we are, I suppose, I always think about it because we are in the midst of like a great paradigm shift right now. All of those things that we believe to be true
Mm.
have just like shakiest foundations. I'm like, and
Yeah.
it's been spurred on by the pandemic and ignited by Black Lives Matter. We
Oh,
really, are in a space now where everything's quite clear. I'm finding it like, everything is very crystal clear. You can see where the inequality is. You can see what's happening very clearly, directly. And there's also now a language about why it's happening, which we never had, which I'm learning from the young people too. Lots of great language to actually explain what's been going on and how things have been happening for years in this country. Like,
yeah.
we know, when I think about the people who I look up to, or the generation that would have been my mentors, I go, where did they go? Where were they?
Yeah.
What happened to them? I know they were here.
Yeah.
But there has been such severe uh, gatekeeping
Oh.
across the board,
Oh.
that it is a time where I'm like, oh, those gates are just starting to fall over, and the kids are just flooding everything.
Seriously, and it's a great time to sort of witness that as well. I mean, as I won't use the word sort of scary, but it's you know at times you go, wow, this is challenging. This is that sort of
Mm,
shape shifting
yeah.
of things that we were told just was, and don't ask too many questions. It is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why I
Mm-hmm.
said we're the last of that generation,
Yeah.
because we're still young enough to rattle the cage, and we're still we have those formulated questions that are starting to sort of raise the hairs on the gatekeepers, whereas
Yeah.
the kids coming up now, they're writing like rhymes and raps and beats about breaking those walls down. They don't care about plates. And
Yeah.
you have to look at it again, like you said, with Black Lives Matter. I mean, I can only imagine the breadth of inspiration that your collective
Mm-hmm.
would have gotten during that time to really write and, sort of put a piece together some really powerful messaging within your artwork. But every day would be something for you to talk about, especially when we're looking across the pond of what's happening in the US. Every day there's a lesson in how not to be as a human being when we're looking at what comes from across that side of the world, and you can see it as clear as crystal, what's right and what's wrong, but yet this argument around why are we questioning what's right and wrong. It's just it's mind-blowing. And I think for creative people right now, this is the time to really be creative and just kick those doors open. So how do you feel about all of that, what's happening in the world as a collective? How does that affect you?
It's really it's really quite affecting. Like, it's so personal and political and all encompassing. And then it's like that thing of actually going, okay, when do you get to pull back for your own sanity? Because what I feel like we're seeing is we're watching the empire fall. We're watching and that means there's a whole heap of people who've been in massive positions of power for a very long time, grasping on by their fingertips and pushing in, like trying to dig their heels in for that last time to have some sort of power over our bodies, over the way we think, over actually the reality of who we are, which is like not what the stereotype says. Yeah. So it's definitely, I'm just like, the arts has the capacity to absolutely shift and change culture. We have been, and just over the last 2 years too, having to kind of even think about that has been quite hard, because it's like what we saw happen to people, or to artists, is that complete you're on your own, squash down, because that's where the dissonance comes from, right? That's where people are talking the talk and walking the walk. And I'm always like, if we can change what the arts, music industry, what the industry looks like, we can change the world, actually.
Seriously. 1,000% agree with you. It is there's so much work to be done from a creative conscience, right? And it's so true what you're saying. With lockdown, for most of entertainment, we were the first to go. Our jobs are the first to go. Nothing to catch you, no safety net. It's done. A lot of us saw, 8 to 12 months of, invoices. Well, there, I'm down to nothing. We have to go and pack shelves. We have to. The hustle, or the art of the hustle, was definitely, coming full sort of, full circle when that happened. But yet when everything kind of opened up again, we were the first expected to come and revive everything, but with that expectation of still keeping the lid on it. And well, no, it doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? So
totally.
That whole sense of, control that sort of comes from that gatekeeping perspective, it just it's just wrong. Like I was saying, it's on a global, from a global perspective, looking at what's happening, especially with the female body right now, being told what you can and can't do. And it's just, if the echoes are heard across the world, no, this is not right. This isn't what we signed up for. So it's just it's scary. I will use the word scary there with that, because it does. It's very fearful. to think that we've been living with these people in perceived, roles of power, and now you're right, that empire vibe is definitely a sense of crumble. So now it's
Yeah.
this real kind of, oh my gosh, let's just really dig the heels in.
Yeah.
Do you see change? Do you see positive change on the horizon?
Look, I do have a lot of love and faith in these young people. Oh my gosh, like really, and I also can, like, I'm like that trajectory or that archive mind that I have. Like, I'm like, um, I know who the people were that kicked down the doors as well. I'm like, I know who they are. I know who they are. They're all so humble, Miss Hennessy. They're so humble.
Yes,
But,
yes, yes.
which is great. Like, but I'm also like, okay, you guys got to know your history as well.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And that's what it's all about. I think I tend to look, thank you for that subliminal. I tend to look at even my own role within the industry here, just as a woman of color, having been in hip hop for as long as I've been, in terms of the backside. I mean, I'm not an artist by any sort of ways or means, but I have been in positions where supporting and promoting artists and being on radio and being a writer and being a DJ myself and all those sorts of things. There've been gatekeepers as well that but people didn't realize that we've had to deal with, and it's probably still in some kind of ways are. And even those gates are starting to shake a bit, because there is a lot of truth in what a lot of us know, and what's right and what's wrong, again, even on any level. And it's just that need to, for some people to feel like they've got to silence you because you know too much. Well, that's across the board. But if you operate from an authentic space and it's always with pure intention, which is what it should be, you shouldn't feel like you need to be silenced. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot of the independent artists are now coming out going, that sort of break the chains with the record labels and, well, you're not going to control my art. This is what I really want to say, especially our Indigenous artists. They've got so much that they need to say. And it's worthy of not just a listen, but it's worthy of global attention. So,
that's correct. And that's the really interesting thing about Australia, the colony. Like, it's just that it's like there's been so much stop. No, it's almost like they're too good. Stop them. Like, that we haven't yet seen that massive surge that is going to happen when the world goes, hang on a second, what's happening out of Blacktown, what's happening at Anala, what's happening, because it's going to happen,
Absolutely. I think, and again, this is where, we sort of are kicking those doors open in our own way with, what we know, who we know, how we kind of do it from our sort of perspective. But it's the groundswell is there, man, and it is going to happen. And I think it'll happen with us being here to witness it, which is all I've ever really wanted, is just that sort of like the tip over of like, this is it, this is what it should be.
That's
not
it.
sort of anarchy, but it's just this needs to be heard. Everybody's got a right to have their voice and their messages heard. No more sort of silencing and brushing under the carpet. Those days are gone. And I think the young ones are too cute on for that. They're not going to be silenced. So I think with collectives like yours, with the shows that you're putting on, so much respect to you and your crew, and thank you for doing what you do. I'm so excited for your upcoming Canadian tour. I wish I could go on and be a voyeur and watch.
So great.
Need someone to, I don't know, brush your voice. I can put these joints together. I could be the one with the receipts. Like, seriously.
It was so good. Oh my goodness. It's so great over there. Like, they treat us Like we're just like, wow, this is quite amazing.
So
Yeah.
this isn't your first time going to Canada.
No, this will be it will be our third time going over to Musqueam territory, so Vancouver. That will be our third time. And then just pre-COVID, we were about to kind of move into that next step. Like we were going into like bigger venues and bigger festivals. Like we were going to do Glastonbury. We were going to, we were going to do like, I think there was a venue in Vancouver that was like 1,000-seater. So we were just on that precipice kind of moving into that audience. Yeah, so we have been there before, but we're doing our first shows in Ottawa, and we're doing that at the National Canadian Arts Centre, the National Arts Centre. They've got an Indigenous department, and they have a program which is just outstanding. So that was meant to happen in 2020 as well. So they've gone, nope, we're still doing it. Yeah.
I'm so excited for you. Oh my God, they are in for such a treat. And we obviously, following you on Instagram, all the socials, we'll get to see it, from this viewpoint. But I think it's only going to get bigger and better for you guys, and it's just, I'm so glad I got to talk to you now, because I think once the American TV shows get you, that's pretty much the good one. You know what I'm saying? They're going to come calling real soon. There's going to be nothing to do for you. But don't forget Miss Hennessy and what happened. Yeah. Okay. If you need anyone, you know where I'm at. But we just want to give a shout out, obviously, Hot Brown Honey. Guys, follow them. This is the little logo that you get. It's just amazing. So I'll make sure that I put all of your links in the description once everything goes out, and just follow them. Everybody, Hot Brown Honey, incredible outfit, and best of luck to you. And seriously, and to all of you. You're going to just set the world on fire. You already have. So.
Excellent. Well, we're going to be making an album this year, so it's like, okay. But we're just like, this is how we roll it. We're just like, everybody we know is going to be on the album. There's going to be so many features.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You got to pack that punch, man. You got to pack that punch. And that's how you do it. And that's what I love about you incredible women. You're not scared. You're fearless, and you're out there, and you know that what you're doing, what you're creating is making a difference, and it's with purpose. And that's what art's about. Yeah. So congratulations and best of luck, and travel safe, and can't wait to see what you guys get up to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Hennessy.
Anytime, Queen. Thank you so much for making time for me tonight. And I consider myself an honorary Hot Brown Honey on the side.
That's right.
Thank you, my love. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.